Buckets. That's the name of my boat. Buckets.
Buckets. What we get.
Not the only transfer we got from Florida. Keith Stone, too. Remember that.
Adidas, release this in a hoodie.
You know, we all make mistakes. He might have made one going to
It's
Tallahassee.
mercy if y'all don't know. Dribble to the left, cross over to the right. Hurricane to the game, many buckets for the night. Matt with the pick and roll, Melissa with the give and go. This Shelly-O, pretty girl dunking in the hole. Check the scoreboard, this what we fall for. Peep the gameplay, they want an encore. Yeah, overtime for another round. It's buckets after buckets, baby. You out of time. It's buckets. What it is, homie, it's buckets. Woo! We getting buckets. Yeah, baby, buckets.
I have no shame.
I know. That's the problem.
You guys are awesome.
Yo, what's up, Melissa?
Yo, we can never just start a show with all three of us.
Matt's arrival is apparently imminent, so he is just
Yes.
going home. The time differences do not lend itself.
Matt living on the West Coast does not help us get a show with all three of us at the same time.
I mean, when we do a 6-hour show and he misses the first 5 minutes, I still feel like that counts as 3 of us doing a show at the same time. Although we got to keep this under 2 hours because I got the football show at 9.
I was trying to answer him back right at the end of the intro. I'm like, let me type really quickly before it goes live.
I mean, they just gave him the thumbs up, and I thought that was sufficient. Well,
I was like,
anyway.
we're starting, just hop on, you know.
I mean, I think
You like my new shirt?
I did notice this new shirt. That is
it's a
little
I just got it
old school,
at
but-
Cane's where this past weekend. You know, whenever I stop in there, I gotta get something. So got a few things. I got a new Final Four pennant. I gotta figure out where I'm gonna hang that up.
You know what? I'm kind of over the Final Four stuff now. I'm ready for next season already.
Well, they were having a 20% sale for I guess for Father's Day weekend. So I was like, let me find a few things. So I got like 3 T-shirts and a pennant and a new decal for my car, which I showed you.
Yes, saw the decal.
But I actually, my 2 other shirts aren't Miami Hurricane shirts. I got a Florida Panthers shirt, and then I bought a Inter Miami shirt because they had ones like this in extra small, and I was like, let me start repping Inter Miami because it's gonna get popular with Messi coming. So
look at you,
my first soccer shirt ever.
This bandwagon bullshit.
Well, I usually only follow soccer during the World Cup, but you know I got to get into it down here.
Well, the Women's World Cup's coming up, so it's the one that we can actually win. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they announced the roster today. But anyway, speaking of
nothing as crazy as the draft going on tonight, but there's a lot of stuff to talk about.
Yeah, and actually, while we wait for Matt, we can talk a little women's hoops. So Coach Meyer got a dog.
That was big news. I was trying to figure out what breed it was, but I mean, it was so cute. It was like a little puppy.
Let's we gotta take a look here. Yeah, I'm gonna pull it up here, but yeah, she got a puppy. A new addition to the Canes family here. So, yeah.
She named it Josephine.
It's got a full name, Josephine Baker.
It's long, but I guess I'll call her like Joe or something for short. But it's so cute.
I don't know. We'll have to ask her what if it's got a nickname.
When we get her back on the show.
Or we can just, ask her.
Or we could ask her and be like, hey, tell us about your dog, but come on the show to tell us about your dog.
well, there it is.
There you go. Look how cute.
That is Josephine Baker. That is a cute dog. I feel like it's going to be quite large eventually.
Yeah, look how big the paws are.
Yeah, the paws are huge. I think this is going to be a big dog down the road, but right now it's a puppy.
For sure.
So landed another top recruit here. So that's always good.
A new unofficial mascot for women's hoops.
Yep. And then the other big news is the women major opponent in December now, playing Baylor in San Antonio. So that is.
You know what? I actually did not see that news. Did you post that in the chat?
Yes.
There's so much that goes on in that chat. I didn't even see it.
This was a relatively recent one.
When did you send that? I didn't even see that in the chat.
It is if you just scroll up like slightly, it's right.
Crap, I missed that one.
Yeah, December 16th in San Antonio.
What's crazy is I literally was like writing stuff down, scrolling through the chat, looking for topics. When did you send that?
Today. It was
today.
So that's December 16th. That is in San Antonio, so it's technically a neutral site, but it's a road game.
I think it was sent in like a whole group of messages, so I saw like a bunch when I woke up.
All I hear is excuses. Get on the ball here, Melissa.
So I didn't see it. Where is this taking place? Oh, in San Antonio.
Yeah, so it's basically.
I don't have good memories of Texas.
It's a neutral site game that is 100% a road game. But it's a big time opponent. It's a good time of year to play that too. It's December, so we'll have some games under our belts. Good.
Oh, is that the same time as us playing Colorado?
I think it might even
Brooklyn?
be the same weekend.
Oh, choices.
Yeah, that. Let's do a check.
We'll see. Whatever trip is cheaper, that's probably going to put.
I mean, I'm not going to go to San Antonio for this, so that much.
Yeah, but we'll be there in like 2 years for the Final Four.
Yeah, defending our title.
I love the confidence.
Why am I not seeing? Oh, this was. I pulled up the schedule. It was like last year's schedule. I was like, why do I not see the Colorado game?
I don't know. New York in December is going to be a bit chilly.
I mean, for me, it's just hop on.
It's
the
like
train.
100 degrees here in the sun currently.
Okay, so it's December 10th is the
I can't make both.
This is the next week.
There's no way to get like 2 weekends off in a row.
I mean, getting to San Antonio is gonna be such a pain. Anyway,
that's not a direct flight.
I guess you go to Austin. I don't know.
I don't know, Houston or Dallas.
Austin is closer. But anyway, all right. So we should probably, Matt's sitting backstage. You think we should let him in, or we should keep him in the penalty box here?
Well, I can't see the backstage area, so however long you've been making him wait is completely your fault, and Matt should be very angry with you.
I mean, it's only been like the whole show, so.
I have to say, every time the intro plays and Matt's thing comes up about Keith Stone, I laugh.
I was about to bring Keith Stone on because Matt can't show up on time. Maybe Keith Stone will. This is having a job business.
Yeah, but at least Matt knows who he is.
That's fine. I am not ashamed.
According to Twitter, before we get into today's topics, according to Twitter, Vish, you had the worst draft of the three of us. Oh, Matt's. I
believe Matt is having the worst audio experience of the three of us. Yes, and as I always say, Twitter is a dumpster fire, and I stand by my draft, and I would 100%.
It was a small sample size because like only 80 people voted.
You had home field advantage. It was on your account, so it was just your followers seeing.
Yeah, but you guys could vote for yourselves. I couldn't vote for myself. Oh, I think it's my audio. I heard it click. There. Testing.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Exactly what I was going to say, Vish. You took the words right out of my mouth. It was on your home court. You had home court advantage. That's complete BS.
Well, it was two things. Happened there.
Well, I should have done and what you guys should have told me to do is to blank the names out and just put like A, B, and C.
Yeah.
That was the other thing that happened. Yeah. So hers was the only one that was identifiable. So we didn't get any of the favoritism votes because they couldn't tell which one. Everyone knew which one was Melissa's.
I wouldn't have gotten any favoritism votes anyways.
Matt got more votes than you did, Vish.
Yeah, I know. I'm aware.
I told some of the dudes in my group chat that it's like Canes related stuff to vote, and they all voted for Melissa's team. Like they sent me screenshots. They're like,
so they were just messing with you.
I was like, wow, thanks.
Wait, were they messing with you, or did they actually like my team better?
No, they were messing. A lot of them, most of them don't really follow basketball, so they were just doing it to mess with me.
I thought I was actually. Yeah, no,
there was. I would say there was a large element of the people that voted in that poll that probably knew like 3 of the players total across our teams. They're just like, oh, I know who Hoodie is. I feel that was a lot of that voting. Yeah.
Oh, Matt, you like my new shirt? I went old school.
Oh, I like it.
Kingswear.
I would stand by my team. Also, we didn't explain that you were actually supposed to, have the team play a game. So I think a lot of it was like,
I think my
I know
team would
it was
do
a lot
very
of
well,
like
honestly.
it's a lot. It was a lot of like, oh, this person's so much better. Why wouldn't you pick? And it's like,
because
well,
I'm not going to play 8 guards
it's-
at once.
well, and it's
like,
not a good fit.
Yeah,
Like,
that was not explained in the poll either.
yeah.
But anyway,
Excuse my giant water bottle. Sorry.
I like. There's a few people like on the tweet that actually explained why they picked my team. So it was nice to get votes from people who actually know Canes hoops and weren't just voting because it was my page. Sorry, I'm getting text messages from one of my friends who just had a kid. So I Venmoed her $40 for congratulatory nuggets from Chick-fil-A.
oh my god.
It's a running joke I have with people that I work with. Every time there's like a birthday or they're sick, I'm like, here's some get well nugs, here's some birthday nugs. It's just a thing. Anyway.
We're not gonna. Are we gonna get into another
we're not
debate
doing the
about Chick-fil-A?
thing. Let's keep it moving.
Wait. Should we promote our sponsor before we get into the show?
Yes, we should.
You're welcome.
Good
Vish.
job, Melissa.
Someone's doing their job.
Yeah, let's do some prize picks. I actually had it open. So
Also, if you're listening and you would like to sponsor the show, hit us up. Our Twitters
Yes.
are at the bottom of the screen of each of our faces.
yes, if you would like to sponsor the show, actually, if you sponsor this show, you'll get all of our Canes coverage because we'll just put it on every show. So not just this one. But our sponsor right now is Prize Picks. The offer code is FIVE. You'll see it scrolling across the bottom. It's pretty simple. You pick 2 to 5 players. You bet over under on whether they're going to hit certain stats. So screenshot, you can see everyone's got points there. So if you get it all right, you get paid out. And if you join now and use the offer code 5, that's FIVE, we will match your first deposit up to $100. So go to prizepicks.com, enter the offer code FIVE. You can do baseball, so that's still going on, and you can do Formula One too, which is still going on. Yeah, the Marlins are winning, which is
It happens every decade or so.
well, no, it's kind of worrying me because look, as South Florida's been on a big run, someone is going to completely blow chunks, and we're rolling around to Canes football season. I'm very concerned now. This is set up for a complete disaster, but more of that at 9 o'clock.
Listen, it's been 20 years since the Marlins have been good, okay?
All I'm saying is you got Canes men and women's hoops. And I know the men's baseball didn't end well, but they were the 9th team in the country. The Heat and Panthers made the
baseball's
final.
making me sad because
But hold on. So we got those 5 in a row really had strong seasons. Now the Marlins, who we can count on to finish 40 games under 500, or somehow eventually a South Florida team is going to completely suck, and it is rolling around the Canes football season now.
Maybe it'll be FAU football or
You know
FIU
what?
football.
I'll tell you who it's going to be. It's going to be the Dolphins because that team was way
That's
too
fine with me.
visible. That team was way too visible at like all the Panthers games and at the Heat games. They haven't won a playoff game since like the 90s.
There's no Dolphins fans on this show.
What were they doing? Like, why is Mike McDaniel the hype man? I'm like, when you win 6 games next year, this is going to be really freaking bad. But anyway, maybe not. I don't know. I don't have any ill will towards the Dolphins, but if
I feel bad for Matt because when football season starts, there's going to be some side tangents of the Dallas Cowboys on the show because of
we're not
me
going to
and
have time
Vish.
to tangent because we're going to have like 4 games a week during basketball season. But anyway,
Yeah, a lot of the shows are going to end up being 2 of us at a time. You might not see the only time you're going to see all 3 of us at a time for the most part is going to be in the off season because if we're going to preview like every game.
I'll just turn the volume down, take a nap if the Cowboy stuff starts. I already got to hear it at work. I don't know if I want to hear it here too.
What is your team?
NFL. I don't watch the NFL at all.
So he doesn't even care.
No,
Okay.
I don't care at all. I guess I like the Rams. I don't know. My dad's been a huge Rams fan even since like they were back in LA before.
Well, why don't you start with America and support America's team? Why are you against America?
Random trivia. My mom's cousin played for the Rams when they were in LA. Like a long ass time ago.
The first time they were in LA.
Oh, the first time they were in LA.
Yeah,
like
LA
again.
Yeah. So super random.
It's too bad you don't follow like the NFL a lot because I feel like we all need to be in a fantasy football league, so it's something else that we could talk trash about on air every week.
Yeah, I don't do fantasy.
So
Other than Price
Matt-
Picks, offer code FIV.
Matt, since you
do
were
that.
since you were fashionably late, do you want to pick the first topic? Well, I guess it's kind of the second topic because we quickly addressed Katie Meyer's new dog. But do you want to pick
Yes,
the next
which is-
topic?
which is,
to
you know, the
discuss?
What kind of dog did she get too? By the way, I was trying to figure it out from the picture.
We don't know. We're
Let's
gonna have
stop
to
real
ask
quick.
her when we bring her back
Yeah.
on the show.
Okay. Yeah, that's a
Yeah.
definite save for next time she's on the show. Do you want to just talk about Chris Johnson or?
We can talk like Melissa
Well-
for some reason allowed you to pick the topic, so go.
Well,
Well, yeah, I don't
What
know.
the hell that was, Melissa.
I will
You
say
gave me power.
before we go too far into Chris Johnson, when I was doing some research earlier, I found an article from On3 that was posted like 5 hours ago that's saying he's down to 3 schools: Arkansas, Texas, and Washington. So I don't know how much you want to get into him anymore.
Well, that's good on Chris Johnson. So what's next on the agenda, Vish?
Arkansas,
By the
Texas,
way,
and Washington.
Chris Johnson was a Kansas commit that asked for release from his national letter of intent. And Miami had shown interest. He was a 4-star prospect. And we were going to discuss him today until I bursted everybody's bubble and found that article about how he now has down to 3 schools and Miami's not one of them.
So that you're able to find, but when I post directly in our chat,
It's I Googled him.
Baylor,
I Googled
that you
him
missed.
and it was
Even I knew that.
I will give Vish credit because earlier today he literally DM'd us an entire list of topics of stuff that he wanted to talk about, and I somehow missed the other message about the Baylor game, but that's fine. But yeah, there's no point in really wasting our breath with Chris Johnson because he's not coming to Miami. So,
Which I think is probably another. I'm going off script here, but actually sort of on script, but so we did get, and this is another, man, we need like a pronunciation guide. So is it Djobet? Paul Djobet? Is that
no,
Djobet?
he's from France, so
Djobet?
I'm thinking it's Djobet. Is it
Djobet.
Djobet?
Oh,
There we
okay.
go.
That's my guess. I don't know.
Okay. That sounds right.
I missed the
Also,
days
I forget who I was asking. Luke Cheney. He's a sports writer guy on Twitter.
I know he used to work for this
asked him-
network, but we couldn't
I
complete
asked
the
him-
life wallet NIL number money, and he jumped ship on us.
I asked him how to pronounce Keyshawn, if it was Keyshawn or Kaishan, and he says it's Keyshawn.
Okay.
So that's another person
Oh,
saying
this is
it.
how
I
it
wish
was
it was
Djobet.
Keyshawn.
But I didn't ask him about this, but because he's French, I'm thinking it's pronounced Djobet. I could be totally wrong, and I
Well,
apologize in
is it
advance.
not George? It's George or something like? Because Keyshawn's also not American.
That's
He's
true.
Swiss. He's Swiss. So how do you say George? And I feel like we're mispronouncing all these names.
We're just saying we're Americanizing it. I'm
Yeah.
not sure, but Matt, Mr. Djobet.
Yeah. Episode 1, name
sure-
pronunciations.
I'm sure. Did you find any tape on him? Because I did not find anything.
Yeah, I found some. It looks like he's had like a little bit of a growth spurt. Grew to 6'7", has a 7-foot wingspan. I can't remember. Was it like Coach L that put something out in the media that just was talking about like what he liked about him? Gave like a brief scouting report. I mean, I like that we're adding these versatile guys that are 6'7", lengthy, can do multiple things on offense. He's someone that I think he can develop into like a secondary playmaker, if that makes sense. I like his shooting ability was what really stood out. I think he's definitely better off the catch. I think developing, creating offense off the dribble is something he can improve at. You can tell he really uses his length to finish at the rim and whatnot. I think that, that's in terms of interior scoring. He's not like the quickest guy. He kind of plays at his own pace, but I think, definitely, improving as a ball handler will help him, create more opportunities for himself, whether it's driving or, shooting off the dribble. But I really like the potential. I do think it's, he's not going to play as much his first year and kind of develop. But I don't know how you guys see it.
Fun fact, since Shane Larkin was your first pick in the draft last week, Paul played for the same AAU team as Shane.
Yeah, Showtime
Ballers.
Ballers. That's what it is.
Ballers,
Showtime
yeah,
Ballers.
yeah. So from what I read about him, one of the ESPN recruiting directors said that He's versatile. His versatility to drive the ball past different size defenders is real. He possesses touch both inside and out, which makes him a creative scorer. The next step is to rebound with urgency and refine his skills. He has a 7-foot wingspan.
Yeah. I think the other thing too that I forgot to mention is kind of very under the radar, right? Like you didn't hear much about him. I mean, part of that's because he's more of an international guy too.
He's only been playing in the States for a few years.
Yeah,
but he averaged a double-double his senior season, 17 points per game and 10 rebounds per game.
It kind of reminds me of kind of different situation, but of Ruga, how he was recruited as well, because Ruga kind of came on late as well, because it was during COVID. So there was I believe there's no like AAU circuit, which is, kind of where people saw him increasing his ranking and whatnot. So kind of reminds me of that situation. So definitely under the radar, but I think it's a great pickup.
Yeah, he's definitely under the radar because if anybody like looks him up and sees what offers he's got, he didn't get offers from really any like big time schools besides us. And yes, we are a big time school. We were just in the Final Four. So he's very, very, very much under the radar, but never question what a player can do in learning a system.
I mean, I will say it feels like we've kind of moved on from plan A's to plan B's and C's. I agree there's a lot of upside potential there, but as Matt said, it's probably not someone you're expecting to come in and really impact this year. And that's why his school list is what it is, because with the portal and with player movement now, you're not really looking at 2 to 3 year plan for most kids. Like big programs generally aren't looking at that. In this case, we did, which is obviously fine, but I think he's going to need some work before he can really contribute at a high level in the ACC. But he has that potential. You just worry that is he going to stick around if he rides the bench the whole year, right? That kind of thing. But again,
considering, he obviously wants to play for a big time school because he probably could have gone to one of those smaller schools and played earlier, but he wants to play for a bigger school, and that's why he's coming to us. So he's going to have to be patient.
Well, not necessarily, because.
Well, if he wants to play in like a power school.
Well, how do you know Parsons not going to coach him next year?
I don't. Listen,
this
what other schools
it's
offer
a dirty
him?
game, Melissa. It's a dirty game. No, I think that there was nothing major, no major conference.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean next year they won't.
Yeah, but it doesn't mean that we won't approach other guys next year either.
Yeah, no, that's just the nature of it. But that's why big schools generally don't take freshmen they can't get on the court immediately because there's a good chance you lose them. But maybe not in this case. Anyway, it's a good take. We got to fill the roster. I kind of talked about this.
We held on to Watson and Robinson
towards the end of the. Yeah, no, not all of them leave. Although I think, had Wong come back, I think we would have seen one or both of them leave. I think that was kind of the thing.
Speaking of Isaiah Wong,
can we talk about next year's team first before we start talking about the draft? I'm assuming is where you're going with that.
Well, you mentioned him, so I figured it was a good segue into the NBA draft. But
I'd like to segue into the fact that we don't have a functional basketball team for next year right now.
You keep saying that. I don't understand why you keep saying we don't have a functional basketball team.
Because we don't have enough players.
We don't have depth.
Right now.
We don't have depth.
Our front court right now is realistically Norchad, Nwoko, and Casey.
Okay.
You can't play in the ACC like that.
2 years ago, we literally had 5 guys and made the Elite Eight.
We didn't literally have 5 guys. We used a short rotation. We had more players on the team.
Our rotation was 5 guys, and then playing Wooga off the bench because we needed 6th guy.
But if we're trying to win a national championship, that's not the way to do it. Because you look what happened in that game against Kansas. Jordan Miller and Sam Wardenberg get into foul trouble. They don't play. You have guys on the bench that aren't used to playing that have to suddenly.
I'm not saying we don't need depth. We do need depth pieces, but we do have a functional basketball team.
I don't know that Cleveland's necessarily a good fit at the 4. I think we'd have to play him there right now.
Yeah,
this is not.
We've discussed this before.
Right, but we still have roster spots.
Well, I keep saying that I want a taller guard. If we get a taller guard, Cleveland's playing in the 4.
I don't know that it's necessarily a good solution. I think we run the risk of trying to replicate what worked last year, except we don't have the same players. And
what would you rather get, a 4 and slide over to the 2?
Yeah, I think that's probably our best lineup right now. I think right now we would start Cleveland at the 4 with Bensley and Nigel in the backcourt. Actually, not a
Well, I've already
bigger.
said I hope that we don't do
Well,
that.
that's where we're at right now. When I say functional,
that's where we're at right now.
That's obviously an exaggeration, but I mean, we really are. I understand we played small and had success last year, but this has taken it to another level, and you don't have Isaiah Wong on this team, right? And I mean, he's the best player in the ACC last year. And
No, I agree with you. We have a functional basketball team. It's just that are we better than we were last year? No, not right now.
I don't know that we're necessarily like. I mean,
We can
again,
still field a competitive.
okay,
team
we have
in
enough
the
players
ACC,
to play a game, but I don't
have
know
we
that we have.
improved? Have we improved for next season? No, we've gotten worse because
I don't think we have a starting lineup you'd actually be comfortable running out there.
No, not right now. No.
And yeah, well, I mean, the season's in a few months, man. What are we doing?
Listen, we only know what everyone else knows. I mean, we're not behind the scenes there. So
Well, there's still opportunities in the portal. Obviously, with what happened at West Virginia, that whole team is ripe for the plucking. I know, Matt, you had mentioned Jesse Edwards. For those that aren't familiar, he was at Syracuse, and then
I mean, everyone that watched Kane Soup should remember him because
Yeah.
he completely obliterated us,
right?
Like, in terms of just individually.
is he in the transfer portal or we're still?
Yeah, no. Sorry, he's not in the transfer portal. It's just kind of. I mean, that just happened with Coach Huggins.
Yeah. We should be, making those phone calls.
Oh, absolutely. Because, and I mean, I've been on here and I said that I don't want a big man, right? Like I wanted to keep playing the same way that has, worked the past couple of years. But I think that the unique thing with like Jesse Edwards is, he does post up, he does like scoring in the post, but he's more active inside. If you help off of him, he's going to attack the rim and you can throw easy alley-oops to him or whatnot.
Does he have a jump shot?
Not really. No. He's 100%. He's 100. He's
how
100.
would that work though with Norchad?
He's 100% from 3 though. 1 for 1 from the season last year. So just letting you know.
So he's got better shot
we're
selection than
stretching
Andrew
the
Walker.
stretch 4.
I think that you have to have like a unique. I mean, the offense would look different. Just his versatility though, and his defense, like what he does on defense, like having Norchad and him defensively, and Norchad's ability to rotate and be super mobile on the perimeter as well for the position he plays, I think it would be really interesting. And I think we'd immediately, if we added him, be one of the best defensive teams in the conference, if not, the country as well.
And that's when I talk about how we can't run it back. We got to do something different. Like as much as last year was great.
Well, no, you can't expect to find an Isaiah Wong and a Jordan Miller in the portal. Like
I would say, even if we brought the entire team back and tried to run it back, we wouldn't have the same amount of success. Yeah. Teams adjust to you. Keep in mind, we were like 3 minutes away from losing to Drake. And
my hope for this season, as far as finding that guard that can kind of create the offense that Wong did, I'm hoping Watson takes a step, and I'm hoping Wilga takes that step too.
Right, but there's also, first of all, I don't think Wilga has that. I mean, no one's going to be Isaiah Wong. I mean,
yeah, I know. I mean,
just
someone who can give us some of that. Someone that can give some type of that production, not obviously duplicating him because you can't.
But I think there's I totally agree. We need those steps to happen, but I also think we need other ways to score, and that's where like Matt said, Jesse Edwards, he's not gonna like step out and hit a bunch of threes or something, but he's very dangerous around the rim, which is frankly something we didn't really have a lot of last year. Like and this is why we ran into trouble in Drake, and this is why we lost to got blown off the court by UConn. Is the degree of difficulty on the shots we were taking. Like most players don't make those at the high level we normally do. But when you can't fall back on being able to generate easy baskets, being able to throw it in the post and make a layup when you're struggling, it makes it very hard to win consistently. And we did a great job at doing that, but that's not necessarily a long-term recipe for success. And when you look at like the Connecticut game, we missed a lot of mid-range shots that are contested that we usually make, but those are still not good shots. They're a good shot if Isaiah Wong is taking it because he's Isaiah Wong, but that's not. I think a way to generate easier baskets is and play better defense. And yeah, it is taking us back a little bit more traditional, but we got to be able to hang our hat on something more than just we're going to out offense you if we're going to actually sustain success. And so right now we're kind of worse offensively and smaller than last year. So I don't know how that's going to actually work.
Well,
which is why, so obviously when I say non-functional, I don't mean we can't put 5 ACC caliber or even 6 or 7 ACC caliber players out there. Just that we have a huge gap in the front court where either AJ Casey or Nwoko is going to have to be starting caliber for us to really be able to get through like the rigors of ACC play without just taking a lot of losses, frankly.
What about this guy William is mentioning?
Yeah,
Jordan
this is the
Brown.
Kid from Louisiana, I believe.
Yeah,
Jordan
it's a grad
Brown.
transfer.
Yeah. Did we talk about him a few weeks ago? I feel like we might have.
I think we talked about him in the
6'11".
chat. I don't think we talked about him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
6'11" grad transfer, averaged 19 points and 8.6 boards last season. At
Like
Louisiana.
traditional back to the basket type big, right?
Yeah.
Which again, I think I'm okay with. I again understanding. I mean, I still think, and I know this is not how it ended up. I still think our 2013 team was our best team, and that's because they could defend and they could score in the paint. And obviously, it came off the rails in the Sweet 16 for various reasons. But that's the nature of the tournament. We've had good teams lose early and worse teams, win a game or two. Like that Frank Haith team that made the second round was basically because McClinton just shot us into the second round. That team wasn't even that good.
Yeah.
Right? The Bruce Brown, Lonnie Walker team was way better, and they lost in the first round. But that's how that tournament is, right?
That was injuries, though.
Yeah, but that was also just we blew it at the end, right? I mean, we missed free throws and then didn't defend well. But that's the tournament, right? That's what that tournament is. But
all these players were mentioning that I drafted.
I mean,
just saying.
Just because you don't remember.
They mentioned the 2012-2013 team. I have 3 of them, so just letting you know.
I mean, I could talk about
one of them.
I
was supposed to have 2, and then Vish stole Trey from me.
I could go back to the 90s and our team that won the Big East, but you guys don't remember it, therefore it doesn't count apparently. But anyway, but I do think we do have to get a little bit more physical inside. It can't, because we don't have that. We're not going to have that. Whoever we bring in is not going to have that perimeter quality we had last year, where they can, take high degree of difficulty shots like Wong can and make them at a high percentage. That's just not realistic to expect that. So we got to figure out how to generate easier shots somewhere.
Yeah.
And that's usually near the basket.
I've been saying it for a while. I think we need to add a front court guy for some depth. Because you can't assume KC is going to take that next step and Nwoko's a freshman. I completely agree. I think you need to add another guy, but I mean, you don't just add a guy to add
that guy, right?
Like
maybe Jordan Brown's like,
well,
here's the thing, right? You're saying we don't add a guy to add a guy. I do think as this progresses.
Well, you're not just going to take anybody.
I think as this progresses, you start looking at players with 1 year of eligibility left that have size that you essentially rent
like
for
a grad
year.
transfer,
yeah, like a Keith Stone type. No, but that's what we did, right? He had a year left. He was a big. We needed size. That was half sarcastic because obviously my foible from the first show I did with that. But it's also like that's what you're kind of start looking at now. You're thinking about all right, we need a player for this year, right? And then you start looking at players with a year of eligibility left that will plug a gap for a year. And that is where you kind of just take whoever to fill the roster out.
Well, and just having that versatility, right, that you can go to different lineups, in games is something that we haven't had, right? So, and I mean, to be honest, like when we've talked about like what the starting 5 would look like, and we've mentioned, with having Nigel and Bensley, right, and Wooga and whoever, and Matthew Cleveland and Norchad, you compare that team to the years of past, and it's like, individually, specifically offensively, like I'm concerned about Bensley Joseph's ability to create offense on his own based on how we've played previous years, right? Because for me, it's been more of, hey, I have an open lane to drive. It's just a straight up layup or an open catch and shoot three. Nigel's definitely turned it up towards the end of the season. Last season, we saw moments of him taking those mid-range shots. But I mean, at the end of the day, he's 6 feet tall, if not like 5'10", 5'11".
You can't trust after the combine. We cannot trust the schools.
Yeah,
measuring.
so probably like 5'10", 5'11". So definitely undersized. And then I mean, Ruga too, like struggled in the UConn game, and he's definitely had moments where that mid-range shot has been hidden, but finding that consistency as a scorer, is that something he develops this year? And to me, it's like one of those guys like that we've mentioned, Chris Watson or Keyshawn or whoever, like has to really step up and be a quality depth piece, if not more.
And then the other kind of starter, Cleveland.
Yeah, Cleveland as well.
Well, he could definitely create offense, but if we're putting him at the 4, that's not his position. Now he's getting into awkward matchups, and you really want him at the 3, ideally. Yeah. So it's all just.
So would the idea be Nigel at the 1, Wooga at the 2, Cleveland at the 3, we bring in a 4, and then Norchad at the 5? Is that our ideal scenario?
For me, it is. I honestly don't know what Coach L.
I don't like the backcourt of Nigel and Benson.
But I guess where I'm probably on an island is I would rather get like a big 4 that'll pound the paint and grab rebounds and get physical inside than another undersized player standing on the perimeter.
I agree. It would be great to have a taller guy, especially if Norchad's out with foul trouble. You still got somebody who can muscle down low. I just would love like a big guy that can shoot.
A stretch 4, so to speak.
Well,
someone that can stretch the 4 that plays the 4 position.
If you can bring in someone who can shoot, and Norchad also is working on his shooting ability so that you can stretch the 4 and you don't have these 2 big bodies in the paint, I think that works. I'm worried we bring in a taller version of Norchad and then everything is just stagnant down low.
But I think Norchad can definitely, maybe not to the 3-point line, but he can certainly knock down mid-range jumpers. So I'm not really.
I think so, but he needs to develop that game. And I think he does, because we didn't necessarily use his offensive prowess, if he has one, this last season, because we had so many other playmakers. And so he was more just the rebounder, playing defense and whatever. This year, I think he's going to be expected more to do more of the offensive stuff, make some shots, post up, whatever. So I think him developing that is going to be a big factor to winning.
I guess my point is, if we get a traditional like low post big, whether they're playing the 4 or the 5, I think Norchad can easily slide to the mid range and benefit off of that. I don't think that's necessarily going to compress the court. Again, it's
like bring in a 5 and have Norchad play the 4.
Yeah, or it's almost positionless, right? We list everyone as a forward anyway. Like we don't actually have some. We have 14 forwards or whatever. So, but just from an offensive standpoint, I think Norchad is more than capable. Maybe not stretching to the 3-point line, but certainly, if you're going to leave him uncovered on the mid range, he can knock those down pretty consistently.
I'd like to see him in the high post, like have a high low post going at some action.
Right. It's completely different. But if you look at the way we've traditionally. Actually, not really. I'm going away from the unicorn just to give me a big dude that'll stand next to the basket and lay the ball in. So I'm asking for.
At this point, we're kind of just looking for size. We're just looking for size down low.
I don't care if they can shoot. I just need them to be able to pick up the scraps, right?
Basically, what Vish is saying is that right now it's Norchad at the 5, and then you're bringing in as his backup Casey, who got some playing time last year but didn't really play that much, who we're hoping develops more this season, and a true freshman coming in Nwoko. So and that was kind of our Achilles heel, and why we lost to UConn was because of size.
Right, it was size, and it was also just, again, our way that we generate offense is taking high degree of difficulty shots and making them at a high level. Yeah, and we didn't against Drake too. We missed so many shots that we normally make, and we got away with it.
Without Wong and Miller, we're not necessarily getting away with that.
Well, I mean, we didn't get away with it against UConn. I mean, at the end of the day,
when
we
you
didn't
get to the
score.
Final Four, you're playing significant talent. Because, like, yeah, if you watched the show a few months ago, we're talking about getting a stretch four and doing all these things, and ideally, and now it's like, all right, it's 2 months later, we're into the summer. All of these big names we've talked about haven't come here, and now you're just looking for those depth pieces.
And that's where, actually, Bill, to your point, Jordan Brown is definitely, he's more of a traditional post-up guy. I would take him in a heartbeat and run the ball through.
Hi, Jazz.
I mean, we're not getting someone that good, frankly, Jazz.
No.
Like, I mean, we take Sudoku, who's going to get drafted tomorrow, but yeah, that's not
Jazz
happening.
is here to make sure you get off the pod at the right time.
I got an hour and 18 minutes, damn it. I will get off.
That's not a lot of time for us.
Yeah, I know. I like having that show at 9 to kind of, force us to end. So yeah, I just think we need one more big, and I don't really care about, frankly, their ability to shoot, because I think we can work it with the rest of the team. So just, even if it's someone like Jesse Edwards, who doesn't really have a post-up game, but just, hang around the rim, do the dirty work, play defense. I am totally
take some of that pressure off of Norchad.
It takes the pressure off Norchad. Also, like, we don't have to be ass defensively. Like, we can actually get players that can play defense and win it. We can win games in the 60s and 70s. It doesn't have to be like
if you get a big that plays defense, then you're out there, and like your team, Vish, that you drafted last week, have like that all defense team where you have guys like Bensley, Wilga, Matthew Cleveland, that big, and Norchad on the floor, and you just clamp them.
Yeah, which is something we really couldn't, even when we were, and I think we were better defensively when we needed to be than, our overall numbers showed, but we still weren't good. We were good enough with our offense, and our offensive power and kind of the streaky shooting that we had kind of hid the lack of defensive, it puts a lot on you when you have to outscore teams all the time. And it would be nice if we did.
And the shots weren't falling against UConn,
and they weren't falling against. Frankly, we won the Drake game because we were so much more athletic than them. We just picked up full court and they melted down.
Last season we came back from a lot of deficits and won. I mean, we did it against Texas. We gave up some big leads too. We were very streaky.
That's because So I think it would be a mistake to look at the team as a team that got to the Final Four and say, this is necessarily the recipe to win it, because I don't know that it is. And so if we're talking about advancing the program to 2 more steps, it probably does involve snapping a little bit back more towards a little bit more traditional style. Because if you can do that, I mean, some of the benefits you do get out of that. Matt was talking about Nigel. If you actually get post play, he's going to get so much room to shoot threes, because you're pulling defenders under the basket, right? You're getting them away from the 3-point line. So it's completely different than what we were doing last year. Part of like spreading the court out brought defenders closer to Nigel too. And so, there's give and take with some of this stuff.
So I have a question for Matt. Okay. Why do you think so many, we've been in players top 4, top 5 for like a few months now, like multiple high level recruits have put us in the top 4, top 5. And I think a lot of that has to do with us making the lead in the Final Four. Why aren't we landing these guys?
You're asking me?
Yeah. What do you think the hang up is? Because people ask me this a lot on Twitter, like, oh, we're getting mentioned. We should be getting mentioned because of the success we're having the last few years, but it's a failure because we're not getting these guys. Meanwhile, we weren't even in the conversation a few years ago. So to me, I think it's a step. But what do you think we have to do to get to the next one?
I mean, I think consistency is key, right? Like, keep performing at a high level, essentially. I think it's interesting to me because, like Vish mentioned it earlier, that we're recruiting guys that kind of feel like plan Bs and Cs right now, but they're kind of like guys that I feel like, how do I want to say this? Like, we're kind of taking flyers on, essentially, that they don't develop. Okay, well, transfer portal's a thing. they'll transfer out or whatnot. Because, I mean, look at the guys we're getting. It's these like 6'7" athletes that can do multiple things on offense and have, some potential on defense. But as far as, other big name guys, I mean, I think it's a multitude of reasons. I think part of it is, I think Coach L is going to recruit guys that he wants to recruit, right? He has a specific type of guy that he's looking for. And I think that's the way he is because of a few years ago, that whole recruiting class with like Earl Timberlake and some other guys, that class didn't really work out. I think that he looks for a certain thing when he's recruiting guys, and I think that kind of limits the total number of guys. And I don't think he's really concerned with getting, very elite guys. It's more of like who fits what we're trying to build here. Because at the end of the day, you can develop guys and whatnot. But in terms of why they wouldn't come here, to be honest, I think first of all, we've mentioned it before. I think it's an NIL thing, right? Like guys will mention us in their top 5 or 4 or whatever, to try to get that NIL bump. I think there is interest because we've been a solid program for the past few years, but I don't know what that next step is, to be honest with you. I want to say it's, competing again this year, competing well in the ACC, making it far in the tournament. But, I mean, I just don't know, to be honest with you.
So I do think we are positioned to do that.
School?
Well, no, but I think we are positioned to compete for the ACC again, provided we fill the roster. It's late in the game to be having these conversations where the concern comes from, but we just need to fill out the front court essentially. Like we have, I mean, you mentioned like Jakai is probably on the fringe of the rotation at this point. He's a high level recruit that's been with that program for a while. Like these are, we're probably at this point bringing Watson off the bench, right? We have a lot of depth. It's just all concentrated at the wing position. And the front court is literally 3 guys. One's a true freshman, one's an undersized center, and the other one looked completely lost last year. And that is our front court. And that's kind of where the
And then our 4th, we lost to the transfer portal.
Well, I mean, should call Indiana and see if we can get him back. But I think so. I think that's where I think there's a lot of potential here. It's just we got to fill in the gap.
I guess you considered him, yeah.
We gotta fill in the gap. So I think that's kind of just the concern there right now. If we get one more big in there, I think we have every opportunity to compete. Because then you got because what that does is if you get someone that can actually start at the 4, like a legitimate, or 4/5, whatever we're calling it, right? That's legitimate size. Then all of a sudden your bench is Nwoko, who's obviously a freshman but has a lot of potential. And Casey should improve. Like you should. Then all of a sudden you have a good 3 to 4 person rotation. You'll still play small sometimes as well. So then you have something. Right now we are really trying to squeeze more juice out of an orange that doesn't have juice in it anymore. Like just Norchad is the only big, and he's not really even big. It's a lot.
Not according to the NBA.
Well, I mean, not according to anyone. Like he's not that tall. I mean, he's a brick, right? I mean, he's physical. He'll be able to battle people, which he showed last year, and battle taller players too. But if that's your only big, that's problematic. Because even last year, like I know he stunk, but there were games where we were like reeling and we got minutes out of Favor Air, right? And he wasn't good, but he bought us some minutes against some of those lower level ACC teams where we had foul trouble and we were able to survive it. And we don't even have that option now. Like, we literally just could have to put it like Cleveland at center.
We have 2 guys over 6'7".
I mean, that's not enough. I'm sorry. I know we play small, but this is not enough.
And that's a true freshman and Casey.
That's not good.
Yeah.
Which AJ Casey might not even be.
I know.
I think he's more like 6'7", 6'8", to be honest.
This is problematic. And so we just. But again, there's time. There's players in the portal. Like Matt and I were talking about. West Virginia is ripe to just go in there and steal players. We just need to be opportunistic. But I think we need one more big. We should have 2 scholarships left. So
Yeah.
so
We did
there
pick
is
up a preferred walk-on.
who might actually have to play if we don't, because he's a power forward, right? Nick
Well,
Casano.
he's actually
he's listed at
6'7".
6'7".
He's 6'7".
I think
So
I think he plays small forward.
Oh,
I think he's
Um,
maybe little Kevin Love action, undersized 4.
oh boy.
Yeah, he has a
Yeah,
he has a nice shot though. He has a high
he
release
does have a nice
point.
shot. He apparently scored 43 points in his district championship game, and was in total like over 500 points for the season, and was like scored over a third of his team's points. So he can
Wow.
generate offense.
20 and 10.
Yeah, he averaged 20 and 10. He's from Naples.
I mean, I know we love the walk-ons around here, but if
How's
this is the plan,
How's the basketball scene in Naples? Is it good? I don't know.
I don't know. It's funny because they didn't. I heard about this, but the day before, like they made the announcement that he was coming as a preferred walk-on, his father followed me on Twitter.
You
So
followed me too.
I clicked on his profile, and it said that his son plays for Canes Hoops, and I was like, "Who is this kid?" I was very confused, and then the next day they made the announcement. I was like, "Oh, okay, now it makes sense."
Shout out to Pops.
Yeah, right.
Maybe he's
so
listening.
so I said.
Oh, by the way, the walk-on's name is Nick Casano. I don't know.
Oh,
Did we say his name?
You didn't
Nick
mention
Casano.
it.
Yeah.
I actually did say his name. Thanks for listening. But anyway, this is a no. I hope I meant to say it. I feel like I said it, but now I know Melissa watched.
I'm gonna go back now. And
I know. I'm gonna get
say
called
it.
on this if I didn't.
Just like when Nat blamed me for ruining his joke, but then it wasn't me that ruined it. He just kept talking, and
it was Julian
answered.
Gamble that ruined it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
wasn't
don't worry.
me,
I
so.
DM'd him. I told him that he ruined it and that I blamed you.
I wonder what he thinks about us not drafting him in the first round.
I don't know. I didn't lie to the man. You two did. So.
Well, I told him I'd draft him. I didn't. Did I say first round?
I think I lied.
Oh,
I
you
know
100%
I
said.
think it was my fault.
You said he would
It's
be
my
a
fault.
first round pick, and he
in
said
my defense,
first time in my life.
I think he'd be okay with me drafting Jacqueline Clinton first.
As
Melissa
I was
said
throwing
first
up into
round
a bucket,
pick,
I'm
right?
like, "There's no way this guy's going to the first round." It's only 3 points.
It was me. I said first round pick. I think you just said you were gonna draft him.
Yeah. See,
which you did.
I didn't lie.
It was me. It was all my fault. But I was trying to suck up to our guest, so he'd come back on at some point.
Yeah.
Maybe bring his friend from the front court in 2013 on the show as well.
I don't think that one's happening unless you want to travel to Cameroon or something. But anyway, we could use that man who's I guess older than us probably, since he was like 47 years old when he was at the U, but on this team, because could use some size. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I can't imagine Coach L sitting there being like, "Yeah, this is fine."
I'm sure he's recruiting his butt off, but if players don't want to come here, I don't know why you wouldn't want to play for a coach who's led his team to an Elite Eight and a Final Four in the last 2 years.
Well, I think there's a lot of stuff going on there. You'll notice the very heavy international flavor of the commits we have got. Miami's not for everyone as a city and as a diverse.
And we're not your prototypical basketball powerhouse.
But we are in the ACC, but.
Now we are, but still, we're not. Everyone still says we're a football school.
Maybe, it's got to be someone that can. It kind of feels like it's got to be someone that can start, though. So that's the challenge.
Is there like a French Grant Nelson out there?
See, like Grant Nelson was when I'm talking about like probably not a good cultural fit. When you ask like why they don't come here, I feel like
North Dakota to Alabama.
I heard Victor Wembanyama has a little brother. I don't know if he's college age yet.
Why wait for the little brother? Just get
Victor.
Let's go to the top. Then I think we could win it. I think if we get him in here. But yeah, no, I think.
Speaking of top fours and all that, we did get another mention.
This is for a 24 recruit. Yeah, this is not for this.
Not for this, but
yeah.
I'm confused. Again, I'm confused because he released his top 5, and then I read an article and he was talking about how he plans to visit all these schools, but didn't mention Miami. He only mentioned the other 4. So I'm like,
I mean,
so for reference, Garrett Sundra.
Yeah,
He's a 6'10" power forward from Virginia, but he's a 2024 class guy. And he listed us, Butler, Notre Dame, Providence, and Virginia Tech in his top 5.
Yeah, and again, this one does feel an awful lot like what is Miami doing this list?
Yeah.
In terms of just you can look at a picture of the man and make that judgment for yourself, but the rest of the schools feel like they fit him a little bit more than us, and then what's a local school in Virginia Tech, and it's just
right. So no, the article I read was talking about how he's already done an official visit to Butler. He's done an unofficial visit to Virginia Tech, and then it's like, oh yeah, and I plan to visit Providence and Notre Dame this summer, and I'm like, why is Miami in your top 5? No, there was no mention of Miami in the entire article. So I don't know. Actually, I should have looked to see how old that article was.
It feels like an NIL-ish thing.
Is this like an NIL push?
Maybe. I mean, I would say we're an oddball in those list of schools. Like, I mean, the Butler, Providence, Notre Dame are very similar-ish. Virginia Tech's like
Virginia Tech is the hometown.
Yeah, it's just more of a local school. And then the hell are we doing in that list, to be honest? Like... That one feels like an NIL play. Like, let me throw Miami in here.
I mean, he'd be a great recruit. He's a top 100 player, 4 stars. Like, I mean, it'd be nice. 6'10", 215. I mean, that's some size.
I wonder how much the high school height inflation is if we're doing it. He must be like 6'4".
Yeah.
I was
215. I mean, that's if he's shorter, then he's got some muscle.
Yeah.
I was 6'1" in our high school depth chart.
What are you actually?
I'm like 5'10", 5'10 and a half. 5'11" on a good day.
I was trying to remember. I was like, how tall was he when?
I know we met each other, but I knew you weren't 6. I'm 6'2", so I knew you weren't 6'1", but I wasn't.
Yeah, no.
Wasn't sure.
You guys want to go to the Bahamas for the tournament?
I already told you, but then you said you couldn't do it. There's a football game. There's a football game that's Saturday.
Yeah, I can't. Well, I'd have to also get my passport renewed because it kind of expired during.
Well, you got to get on that.
I want to go to the Bahamas.
There's a huge like turnaround time now. It's like 10 to 14 weeks.
Ooh.
But there's some good teams for this tournament. It's us, Kansas State, who made the Elite 8 last year, and they ended up losing to FAU in the Elite 8. Providence, who made the tournament last year, and then Georgia.
And Georgia's who we're opening with, actually, which we found out yesterday.
Georgia.
So,
interesting enough, last year Georgia went 16-16. Their away record was 1-10.
Georgia's like they've been the worst basketball team in the SEC.
No, it's just interesting. It was just interesting to see how bad they are on the road.
That would be a bad loss, and that's one that's going to hurt our net rating.
Oh yeah, we're going to we would be in the 90s if.
I think it's going to hurt our net rating even when we win it. It's one of those things where they're.
If we win by 4, our net rating is going to be.
Yeah, so that.
Anything.
Well, and it'd also be interesting because Nigel Pack transferred from Kansas State, so it'd be interesting to play them.
It would.
Because they beat some good teams in the tournament. They beat number 6 Kentucky. They beat number 7 Michigan State in overtime. Like, they played some really good games, and they got a couple players in the portal, no?
Yeah, well, they got a transfer from Florida, another transfer from Florida that everyone's getting transfers from Florida. It was the guy, is it Keontae Johnson? Is that his last name?
Oh, that was the guy that had the heart issue, right?
Yeah, the heart issue.
Yeah.
And he was told he was never going to play again. He actually might be a second-round pick in the draft. I'm not sure. And then who was the other? There was another person, but Marquise Noel was there. Dude was a baller. He's the reason why Nigel Pack transferred because, I mean, he was the starting point guard, and Nigel Pack wanted to play point guard. So
and Nigel Pack wanted to go to the Final Four and not lose to FAU. So
yeah, no, that's true.
So Kansas State's coach is that goofball that went in the FAU locker room after they got beat by him and was giving them a post game talk. I was like, dude,
what a loser!
You lost. Go Go talk to your own team, dude. What was he even doing? That was like the most bizarre thing. He's like giving them like a victory speech. I'm like,
Wasn't he like, you guys are the best damn team we
he's
played?
like, don't let anyone tell you that. It's like, who the F? You're not like Coach K or something where you've like got pedigree. Like,
Nobody
who are
cares.
You? Like, what are you doing? Meanwhile, his team sit in their locker room by themselves, like, where the hell's Coach? Giving a victory talk in the other locker room.
Yeah, then he walks in and he's like, I can't believe you lost to those jokers.
It's ridiculous. That dude.
Oh.
We'll give him an L. So actually, we should win that tournament. To be honest, we're the
Mm.
best team there.
100%.
But that should be fun. Yeah, that is. I think we're playing Louisville in between those, if I recall correctly. So it's Hoops Friday, Louisville football Saturday, Hoops Sunday. So that's a good weekend.
Are you going to go to the Bahamas, Vish?
I'll have to see. I'd have to like. I gotta do the football games. I'd have to go back and forth.
You would fly back? Like you would?
I mean, I'll be in Miami, so it'll be like it's like a 10-minute flight. It's not even a thing.
Vish
Oh,
has
really?
like no budget when it comes to going to see like basketball. He's like,
I don't know that I would
literally
do
follow
it.
the team around.
I don't
for
know
the
if I would
NCAA
do it.
tournament.
I mean, that was the first time I'd ever done that. That was a new one. It's not standard. Although I did redirect through Chicago 2 years ago to watch Kansas stomp the hell out of us because I was traveling at the time. But yeah, no, that was a new one. That Kansas game was the first tournament game I'd ever been to. So this year I just decided to follow the team around. It's not standard practice. But if I can get a cheap flight to the Bahamas from Miami, because I'll probably be down in Miami anyway, because Thanksgiving's next week. So then I'll hop over. But probably not, because I wouldn't stay there because I watch the football game on Saturday.
Yeah.
So it would have to be like back and forth. If anything, I would go for like, because Georgia sucks. I would just go for the Sunday game versus like go back and forth multiple times. Like watch the football game on Saturday and just fly over for the Sunday game. Well, it's like seriously like a 45-minute
If that's the
flight.
weekend before Thanksgiving, I'll likely be working because I'm always off for Thanksgiving. So I'll be watching the game from work if I can stream it.
Is the Bahamas tournament is the one that's on like? Is this on a real channel or?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or is it the women's
assuming
one that's
it's-
on like a fake channel? One of those Bahamas, because I remember our team was playing like, this was 2 years ago, our women's team was playing like, I want to say Stanford or like one of the top 3 teams in the country that was on like Flow Sports streaming or something. I was like, what the hell is this? So, but I think the men probably get on ESPN or something. Anyway, we'll have to see. We were also.
Did you see they announced the New Jersey numbers?
Oh yes, there was a big announcement, a lot of
And
changes,
and a couple of changes too.
Yeah, so let's here. Let me pull the list up here.
So for the new guys, Cleveland's wearing number 0. He actually wore 35 at FSU.
Yeah, it's
Good number.
new beginning.
Yeah, Nwoko's wearing 1, George is wearing 7, and Djobet is wearing 10. Casey is switching from 0 to 23, and Wooga is switching from 55 to 5.
So who was wearing 5? Was anyone
Beverly.
wearing 5?
Beverly.
Yeah,
Beverly was wearing 5.
Beverly.
Okay. And then
Beverly was
23?
wearing 5.
Was there a 23? I don't think so, right?
No.
What
But
number
maybe
was
Cleveland
Casey
wanted
last
to wear
year?
0?
That's
Casey
what I was
was
thinking. Did Casey get big time here?
Oh,
Did Cleveland take his number so he switched to 23?
maybe.
You think Isaiah Wong's number ends up in the rafters one day?
Yep, should.
I think it should.
Had to. Rick Barry, Tim James, Isaiah Wong. Makes sense.
McClinton's up there.
He's not retired. He's honored. The only 2 retired are Barry and Tim James.
He's still up there.
Yeah, but you can still
Damn,
wear it.
Vish, you're going to have 2 retired jerseys on your team? Look
Oh,
at
yeah?
you.
I did. I will say that was kind of on purpose in terms of because we talked about it with Kenny Kaji, right? Like I was definitely valuing like longevity and value add to the program, and that reflected several of my picks actually. So
I don't know.
Yeah.
A lot of my picks and then a lot of Matt picks, both of us were like going to draft those players next. So I feel like me and Matt were like on the same page.
Well, you were also working in a much more crowded space, and I had like this whole era of Miami basketball to myself where I could just like pull whoever I wanted.
I'm so grateful that I drafted Kenny Kaji second, because I would have been heartbroken had Matt had taken him if I had waited till the third round to take Kaji. That would have been horrible. I would have felt like Matt did when I drafted Jordan Miller.
It's okay.
See, but even with Kaji was only here a year. Yeah.
Facts.
He was a transfer from Florida.
I know. The second best transfer from Florida you had, if you remember Keith Stone. So.
No, I'm pretty sure he was the best transfer from Florida.
But I mean I did definitely way more like how much they contributed to the program, which is why they're like there was nothing that Kenny Kaji could have done as 1 year that would ever have gotten his jersey retired.
No.
It's the reality of it, right? You got to do more than that. So,
Not
but yeah,
everybody
I think
loves
Isaiah
the
Wong.
way I do.
I think Isaiah.
I think Wong should be up there.
It should be retired.
Whether it's retired or it's honored, like McLean.
No, it should be retired. That's a distinction. That's a higher honor, and he deserves it. And not that having your number honored isn't awesome, but there's a different, like, he belongs with Rick Barry and Tim James in terms of impact on the program. Like he's the only one who on that team last year that mucked through the crap.
Nigel Pack to wear 24 because Pack's been rocking the 24 patch that says Barry on it the whole season.
Yeah, that's fine, but his jersey's still retired. So I guess.
I know. I'm saying that. I mean, loopholes.
Yeah, but those. I mean, if someone else wants to wear 2 and Zay's like fine, but his jersey needs to be retired.
Sure.
And if you think about impact on the program, it is up there. He came here when we were at a low point and elevated the program to the point that by senior year, not only in the Final Four, but he was the best player in the ACC. That is, I think 4 or 5 years from now, we're going to have a much higher appreciation for Isaiah Wong than we do right now because we got used to him.
Yeah.
And I think it'll be pretty obvious who the best player of this era has been. It's going to be him.
It always seems to be that one that we all remember.
I mean, I think for him, he was on bad teams and he was kind of propping the teams up, and then we got better players around him, and the program went through the roof. Yeah. And it's kind of like he was always there, so we took it for granted.
Well, it's just like if you look at the team, but if you look at that Elite 8 team and then you look at that Final Four team, the impact that the transfer portal had on those 2 respective runs is insane. Like, we had just as many transfers as we did recruits that we brought in from high school.
I mean, I would say that was the case for our 2013 team as well, right?
Kaji was a transfer, and Trey was a transfer. That's it.
Larkin
never played at DePaul, though.
He's a transfer from DePaul.
Huh? He didn't play there, though. He had committed there, and then...
He went to campus. He was there.
Yeah, but he never played. But he never played, though, so I don't really consider him a transfer.
He's 100% a transfer.
He wasn't a transfer. He played.
Pull up his bio. Previous school.
His freshman season, he played at Miami, though. His first season of basketball, he played at Miami.
He's a transfer. He went to another school. How is that not a?
He never played for them, though. Like, he never sat the year, like, as a season. He was never a part of that
Twitter
team
poll question tonight: does Shane Larkin count as a transfer? I want to see it. He's doing it right now. He's doing it right now.
This is my take on it. Is that he went to DePaul, but then he left before the season even started, and then he got like a waiver to play in Miami.
Make sure you check with Melissa.
I don't really consider him
a
transfer. I don't really consider him a transfer because it's not like he was there for the whole year and sat the bench or something. He was never a part of the program.
But he
So
went
that's
there.
why I don't consider, huh?
He did go there. He then decided he wanted out,
But he never played for them, so I don't consider it like he wasn't like in the locker room or on the bench. Like I just consider him a freshman at Miami. Like it's just my opinion. But Julian, Reggie, Durant, Ryan, they were all brought in from the beginning. So
I mean, 3 of the 5 starters transferred. Because yes, like it's on his bio. You can't undo the DePaul mistake. It was a thing that happened. But anyway, and then I mean, honestly, Ryan Brown was like the equivalent of what on last year's team. I mean, I don't think you would necessarily consider that like a key when you start talking about kind of the core of the team. He was. I think he's fringe core of that team. He started later.
What, in 2013, Ryan Brown's role? Yeah. You know, he was in the rotation. I mean, he was what? The 7th, he was our 7th man. 6th man, 7th, 6th, something. I mean, after Reggie came back from injury, he was like coming off the bench as a 6th man. It was crazy. That, man, thinking about that team so makes me sad because there was, like, that team had everything. Like, I feel like that should have been our first Final Four run.
It did lack some depth, and that kind of bit us in the end. Because, like, it's not like when you know, Larkin has issues, we could slide Ryan Brown in there and not miss a beat because we couldn't. Yeah. Right? I mean, I think that's
another piece of that team was supposed to be Darius Adams, but I believe he was injured.
Yeah, but again, we're not talking. I mean, I don't want to disparage because obviously it's good. You're Division I quality basketball players, and they're really good players here. But we're talking massive drop-offs.
Well, no, I'm just talking depth-wise. Because
yeah, but I don't think that kind of
because the year after Ryan Brown and Darius Adams were the team.
Right, and the team was bad. And so
I know. I remember.
I guess that's my point. That's the significant drop-off for the starters.
No, I remember watching the ACC tournament title game against UNC. And I remember telling one of my friends, I'm like, if we're going to win anything in the tournament, this is going to be the year because we're going to have nobody next season. So, like, I was like, I'm writing this as long as I can because you knew Shane was going to leave because why would he stay with everybody gone? And then everybody else was seniors. So, I mean, that season, I was just like, I need to enjoy this because next year it's all gone.
Yeah, but I guess in contrast to like the team that lost to Loyola, right? Where, I mean, Bruce Brown didn't play the second half of the season or the tournament. Like if Larkin had gotten injured like that off that 2013 team, it would have stunk.
Well, that's why we lost to Marquette because he was like
right. That was so. I think he was so in control of that team and that offense that it enabled everyone else to look better than they probably are.
When you have an elite point guard like that, I mean, not having him at 100% or not having him at all is gonna make a huge difference, and that's why we lost that Sweet 16 game. I say it every time. We lost that game because Shane Larkin had food poisoning the night before. If he'd been healthy, we win.
But we also just didn't have depth, right? And I think if you look at like the team that lost to Loyola, lost an NBA player who's really good if you watched the NBA this year, and you know, it took a fluke. It took a fluke to otherwise that team was going to go on a run, right? And the 2013 did not have that kind of depth. Like the fact that team was
there's always a what if, but the Lonnie Walker Bruce Brown team was fun to watch. I know Bruce was hurt, but nothing compared to that 2013 run. Obviously until this year, but that team was so much fun to watch. It really was. I like being in the stands for all those home games. Literally, especially that Duke game. Honestly, like it's literally one of my favorite seasons ever.
I think
that team was special.
I think if Bruce Brown was healthy, that team that lost to Loyola would have.
Oh, it's possible. But again, it's
I think
what if.
I think they had a higher ceiling than the 2013 team. I think that's a team that finished second in the ACC without Bruce Brown, which is crazy.
No, that's true. That's true. I don't know. I'm biased because that 2013 team was.
Yeah, we all have our biases. Why do you think I glorify?
But no, it is true.
the
Like
90s
if
teams?
Bruce
It's
Brown
like
was
my
healthy,
first-
what does that team do?
No,
What
but
does that team do if Bruce Brown's healthy?
we all have those biases, right? That's why like I'm an affinity for the late 90s teams because that was like my freshman year of college. We made the Sweet 16, and you got to keep in mind like when we first made the tournament in 1997, we hadn't made it since 1960. And then 2 years later, we were in the Sweet 16, and I'm like, that team's always going to be special for me because of that, right? They won the Big East. We stormed the court after they beat St. John's in like triple overtime to win the conference.
You see Anthony's question?
I see his question, but we kind of, haven't we done enough of this?
Anthony, that's a whole nother pod, honestly.
I mean, we did a 3-hour draft last week.
Well, we did a draft. Like we picked each other's players too. Like, we're probably gonna do an episode where we do like either all decades teams or we talk about some of our favorite players or create our all-time. That'll probably end up being a whole nother episode. So I don't want to ruin that now. But
I will say center's tough.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
We're a little light there.
But keep watching, Anthony, because that's probably going to end up on a pod sooner or later. Probably this summer because we're going to need things to talk about.
That team, though, with Bruce Brown, Lonnie Walker, that team was really deep. That depth was...
Who was on that team? Hold on, let me Google.
That was when we had, like, Anthony Lawrence, my guy. That's when we had...
definitely Rodney Miller was definitely...
Rodney Miller was definitely on that team.
Was starting on that team. Wardenberg was on that team.
Likes was on the team, I think.
He was the backup, because Quan was the starter.
Yeah. Was it Zundu on the team?
I believe so.
2018, 2019. Chris likes.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Chris likes DJ Vasilevich, Willie Harrington, your walk on. Anthony Lawrence.
Oh, yeah, DJ was on that team.
I don't even remember some of these. Anthony Mack, Dominic Proctor, Zach Johnson.
Are you looking at the right team?
No, you're looking at the wrong team.
It's 2017,
2019?
No, you're
2018.
You'll notice the lack of Lonnie Walker and Bruce Brown there.
I was going to say, I was like, no. It's Lonnie Walker.
Jaquan Newton. Hold on. Jaquan Newton, DJ Vasilevich, Chris Likes, Anthony Lawrence, Lonnie Walker, Bruce Brown, Azundu, Dewan Hernandez, Sam Wardenberg, Dang Gak. There's some players.
Well, that's why we're able to kind of stay afloat even with Bruce Brown injured because we had depth.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I clicked on the wrong year.
Yeah, that next year's team was rough.
But Sam was a freshman.
He was on the court though. He was the one that when Lonnie's free throw rimmed out because he was gonna get the rebound and it hit the rim a second time and he mistimed his jump. That whole thing is like I have that memorized, slow motion nightmare. That whole play because Wardenberg got inside position, like got inside of his box out and was going to grab the rebound. He elevated to get it, and it hit the rim a second time. It looked like it was going to come straight off, and it nicked the rim, and he didn't get the rebound. They got it and went down the court and hit the three. He was in there.
I remember going back. You guys were talking about the 2013-2014 season after that special season. That was like the first year. So they played in a tournament in Southern California. And they played it at Cal State Fullerton, which is like 30 minutes from my house. And I went to the first game. I think it was against George Washington, I want to say, and they lost like an overtime. And I was like, yeah, I'm not gonna go back again.
Oh, that was the because it was different transfer rules. That was the team that had like McClellan and Adrian Rodriguez not allowed to play yet.
Yeah.
So they were in school, but they were doing their sit out year. So we knew we knew like the year before we'd won the ACC and made the Sweet 16. We knew we were going to be really good the next year, but we knew that middle year was going to be a freaking disaster.
Yeah.
So we had all this talent that we couldn't field yet. That's why if you look at the roster, that team, like that should have been better. But then like half these guys were transfers and couldn't play.
Wait, hold on. Let me look at that roster. Hold on. 2013, 2014.
Oh, Manu Lecomte, I remember him.
Oh my
Transferred
God.
to
DeAndre
Baylor.
Burnett,
Legend.
Rafael Akpajori, Davon Reed, Sheldon McClellan, Angel, Ryan Brown, Manu Lecomte, Eric Swoop, Donovan Kirk,
My
Tanya
boy,
Jakiri,
Eric Swope.
Darius Adams, James Kelly.
That's my
And then
boy.
the next year after that was where we blew the NIT game, right?
Yeah.
We could have won the NIT.
Mm,
That's 14-15, I think. Right?
yeah, I think it was.
When actually we didn't blow it. They called a BS foul at the last play of the game, right?
Oh, Ivan Cruz who said it. I forgot about him.
God.
Oh yeah,
Oh.
Amari Murphy.
We're literally just like
Amari
naming guys now.
Murphy.
We become the
Oh, that
show
was
that
my
just like
guy.
remember some guys.
What happened
No,
to
everybody's
him?
your guy.
Oh, man. Oh, James Palmer transferred to Nebraska and decided to ball out.
Yeah, that 2014-15 was the one that lost to Stanford in the NIT championship.
Who was on that Stanford team? I was trying to remember.
You mean on our team or on Stanford?
No, on the Stanford team. I remember who was on ours. Come on, we had Ivan Cruz Aceta. Come on.
Hold up.
I met him once. Ivan.
Oh, it was with Anthony Brown. Yeah. He actually went to Ocean View High School, which is down the street from me. Legend around here.
There's always like a 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon thing with Matt. He's like, oh, I know this person because they went here, and the cousin.
Well, I
of
don't
this
know
person-
him, but like I know who he is, and he played for the Lakers too. That Stanford team was pretty good.
There's always a person within a group of friends that just
got
like throws
screwed.
out random trivia and random facts. That's Matt.
There was
Yeah.
a BS foul call at the end of that game. We would have lifted the NIT trophy.
Oh, jeez. Don't we have that banner up? Isn't there like an NIT runner-up banner in the Watsco?
I don't know.
Do we have it up there? I don't know.
I don't know.
I need to go to both the women's and the men's games to start the season because I want to see them hang the banners.
Well, we'll have to see when the schedule comes out. It should be beginning of November. Whenever that happens.
You should come down, Vish.
It's football season. No guarantees. I gotta see what the especially
That's true.
be a weeknight. Like we might not open on a weekend. So
Yeah, I would tell Matt to come, but it's kind of harder from California.
Yeah, it's a little bit long of a flight, to be honest.
Are we not seeing you again until like the Final Four next year? When are we gonna do our game of horse?
he's ducking us.
It'll be a while,
He's
Melissa.
ducking us. Look at him ducking us.
Oh, gee. Maybe in Cleveland when the women's team makes the Final Four.
Oh man, I don't know if I could go to Cleveland.
He's not going to Cleveland.
If it was anywhere else,
He's not going to Cleveland.
if it was
Even
anywhere
for a
else, I
Final
would
Four,
go.
even for a Canes Hoops Final Four.
Cleveland. I don't even know if I'd go if the men's made it to the Cleveland. To be honest with you.
Wow, what?
I'm sorry to any of our listeners who currently live in Cleveland.
Hold on a
or
second.
from
Wait,
Cleveland.
what is wrong with
That's
Cleveland?
horrible.
I
Well,
don't-
I mean, I've never been to Ohio, but
Yeah. Oh, I thought
oh,
Anthony
Anthony's
sent a
posting his
lot.
starting five.
He sent a long message. I thought he was from Cleveland.
Here's my starting five: McClinton, Rodriguez, Walker, TMJ as the 4, and Julian Gamble as the center. I disagree because you don't have Kenny Kaji on there, so it's automatically irrelevant.
I think this is a.
Wait, is that all time?
I have no idea what his criteria is, but I don't see how you arrive at that list of players.
TMJ is not a center. It's not a forward.
He is a forward. He's just not a power forward.
He's only picking guys
not
that
a
are
forward.
Pisces
He's
or
not a forward.
something.
I mean, where's Larkin? Seriously. There's all sorts of problems here. Unless you had some criteria. Anthony, you got to explain
Maybe,
yourself.
Yeah, explain the criteria.
Maybe next week, once all of us have time to think about it, we'll name our all-time starting 5. But I need more time because
The center is the one that I'm struggling with. guys that I've seen play.
Oh, okay.
Wait, but
Well-
how did you see Julian Gamble play and not Shane Larkin?
Exactly.
The only-
NTMJ, they were all on the same team.
Yeah, Larkin's got to be on there.
Yeah.
Anyway, we got anything else? Or?
I don't know. I totally disregarded the list that we had of.
I think we actually covered it all.
Did we
No,
really?
we did.
Wow.
Yeah, because I saw
Barrett Thunder,
Melissa
Chris Johnson,
scrolling back. Actually, there was one more topic that someone walked on,
That's what I
which is
wrote.
probably a
I
good
don't
thing
know
to
if
end
there's
with.
something else.
Which Melissa tried to bring up earlier, and I shut her down because I want to talk about how our team is screwed for next year. Which is the draft is tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
The draft is tomorrow. We got a couple of guys that hopefully will get drafted, probably second rounders, but
Yep.
I think
I've
either
seen a
second
ton of
rounders or
different
two-way
mock
deals.
drafts.
The second round is incredibly impossible to predict at all whatsoever. Like there's no what's the word, guys dropping or whatever. It's
should I be insulted or what does that even mean, dude? John David, Washington.
You insulted his starting five, so maybe
Oh,
you
no, I
should insult back at you.
I mean, I am all for people insulting me. Bring it on. I'm just not understanding the insult.
Oh.
Anthony, what are you talking about? Who's John David, Washington? What's happening here? But anyway.
Yeah, I don't know who that is.
But apparently I want to be him, so but anyway, sorry. Not to
I'm waiting for Matt. I'm waiting for Matt to come on a show where he's actually wearing Canes merch.
I am. It's I'm not.
We had to ask you. We had to ask you to put on a Canes merch last week. I'm wearing a brand new shirt. This is brand new.
I don't.
Okay, I still don't get the insult,
son.
but I still don't get the insult.
I wear all my Kane stuff when I play basketball, to be honest.
Now I gotta look up John David.
The only time I've reworn something on this pod is when I wear my interview hoodie.
Your interview hoodie?
Yeah.
You don't have an everyday hoodie?
No, I have two hoodies that I switch off wearing that are my lounging hoodies. One of them is the hoodie is expensive hoodie that I wore a few weeks ago, and then my Coach Coop hoodie I live in. I wear that thing all the time when I'm chilling at home.
Is it too hot? Anyway, draft.
I keep my apartment in frigid temperatures.
So taking out the personal fandom aside, where would you like to see our boys land? Or what do you think is a good fit or place? Because look, let's be honest here.
I just want one of them to come to Miami so I can buy their jersey.
Okay, that's exactly what I said not to answer the question with, but
I know I'm just starting it with that.
I saw that coming, and I'm like, look, can we not do that?
Well, to be
you
honest,
want Long in the backcourt with
no. So I think the context is, as Matt mentioned, second round is tough, and a lot of them don't actually make the team. They end up in the G League or in Europe, and so a lot of that is dependent on finding a good landing spot. And in fact, sometimes it's better not to get drafted because you kind of pick an opportunity where, all right, but so I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on where you'd like to see them, potentially have the best chance of success.
Jeez, I should have done more research for NBA stuff. I didn't.
That's
a hard question to answer.
Let's get to our summer league expert over here, who is
yeah, right.
Who's used to scouting this.
I'm trying to be unbiased, right? So if I'm going for Jordan, I mean, as much as I would love to say the Lakers, I think a team where he can kind of grow into his role, right? On a team that, a contender essentially, where he can, do the things that he did his junior year, right? Because that's how it's going to start. Doing all the small things to contribute to win.
And that's probably a better, rather than go to specific, do you think it's better that they end up at least we're talking about Jordan Murray, he ends up on a better team where they'll, be maybe a more defined role and you can.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. He's a good team defender. can improve as an on-ball defender, I think, in ways, but I think he's versatile he has a 7-foot wingspan, and what are the actual measurements? He's not 6'7", he's like 6'5.5", right? Is that what the measurements were?
Like 6'5" or something, yeah.
Yeah, so I could see him doing, maybe like the Bucks or something, or I'm just kind of naming random teams. But honestly, though, for Isaiah, I think he would be a good fit for the Heat, to be 100% honest. I think that having that offense would definitely help him. I know he's worked out for them. Jordan, I think, worked out for the Magic, actually, not the Heat, though. So I think that's something that would be interesting.
It would be great. It would be great to have Long go to the Heat, just because the Heat have such success with developing young talent.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So I'm actually, I think Jordan's going to have a little bit more difficult of a transition, just because he's going to have to play a completely different position. He's going to have to like really, and I'm sure he's been working on this, but he's going to have to really just be like a knockdown 3-point shooter. Like he's going to have to be very consistent from 3, because he's not going to be able to go play in the paint in the NBA. He's too small. Let's be real.
Yeah, but I think too, like his junior year, he was one of our best cutters, right? So he knows when to dive and whatnot. So I think that's the one thing. Like if he didn't have that, then yeah, I would be concerned. But
he can definitely play as a 3. To me, it's what's going to keep him on the court though, or not, is going to be he's got to be able to shoot the 3 ball. I think that's when you're talking about bringing a glue guy off one of the onto the court or sticking with him or whatever. Mm-hmm. One of the big things is if this guy is left open, he'll knock the shot down.
Yeah. And we saw improvement in it. It's just consistent.
Yeah, and I'm sure and there's also, been several months since the season ended, which he's been, I'm assuming, just shooting constantly. So
yeah, well, hopefully we can talk to him about it soon too.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be nice? And then
whatever, Vish.
So
that's the director of getting guests on the show.
Yeah. But actually for Zay, I actually think he might be better off on a worse team. His best attributes are with the ball in his hand, and you're not going to get that on a good team. Like they're not going to the Heat have been very good at developing, I would say, borderline NBA talent into really good contributors on really, really good teams. But it's still Jimmy Butler's going to have to take this ball, right? I mean, and I think Zay is a role player. I don't know that accentuates his skills, but if he goes to a bad team, that he can, maybe get more of the ball in his hand, and even as a second unit, being like the scoring punch off the bench, that might, I feel, suit him better than going to a team where he might get like 10 minutes and he's got to come in and, do a lot of the little things well. That's not really as much of his game as, he'll create the offense, he'll score the buckets. So I feel like, buckets. Buckets. No Julian Gamble here to cut me off. But so I actually think he'll do better at like a team that maybe isn't as good, that's looking for more offense generation and ball handling. Because I don't see Zay's game as like a role player type. I just don't see it there.
I don't know.
Which Jordan Miller,
unless it's a guy that just comes off the bench and second unit, leads the second unit and scores, right?
Yeah, the Heat don't really do that.
Yeah.
And I don't know that any of like the top teams in the NBA have that role for him. Which is why I think, going to a worse team, a team that's frankly looking for offense, like doesn't have a lot of good guard play.
Maybe like the Wizards or something.
Yeah, the Wizards. They just lost Beal.
Yeah, maybe the Wizards. Like I think he could slot in. He's obviously not going to be Bradley Beal year one, but I think he could slot into that role.
Yeah.
Because he's a ball dominant guard that can create his own shot and score. So,
I know some of the projections I saw. I think I saw him. They had him going to the Cavs. Was one of them. These don't really matter that much because it's all random.
We're just talking abstractly, like would give them the best chance of success because they both. Let's be realistic. They both are borderline to the point of, they might not be in the league this year.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's what we're talking about. So
I want to say that one of the other ones too was the Pacers, and there was another one, but I can't remember. Maybe it might have been the Grizzlies or something, but no, yeah. I think it would be. I think either way, they both have a good shot of like at least getting that two-way contract. I would be surprised if they didn't at least both get that. I think there's a really good chance. I mean, we talked about this weeks ago that they both get drafted as well. Obviously, Vish, you had mentioned there's always a prospect of teams reach out. Hey, we're going to give you a two-way deal. They tell a team to not draft them, right? Because they want that two-way deal. So you never know what happens until after the draft.
Yeah. I'll be checking my phone at work tomorrow night since I'll be there instead of being able to watch the draft, but it'll be exciting to see where they end up.
yeah, and it's as where was this? I think it was Anthony earlier. I know it was Bill, right? I mean, look, we're not at the stage of our program where like we should just gloss over the fact that very likely tomorrow night we're gonna have two players. Lonnie Walker went in the first round first.
Yeah, I was gonna say Lonnie Walker
but,
was the 18th pick, right?
yeah,
Because he was the same as Shane.
Yeah, but we're certainly not at the point in our program. We should gloss over the fact that we're gonna have two players probably on NBA rosters tomorrow night, which is
pretty cool.
Which is something.
Yeah, for sure.
It's not something.
Anything else we want to address before we let Vish go so that he can do his football pod at 9? Do we want to promote Prize Picks one more time?
We can promote Prize Picks. You want to do the read?
No, you're good. I'm gonna finish my apple juice.
The hell? I mean, she
You want me to do the read? You want me to do the read?
Look at that.
All right, y'all.
She just assigns stuff to whoever she feels.
I'm the boss here. So, Prize Picks is our sponsor. Go to prizepicks.com.
Yeah, go to prizepicks.com, offer code 5 as the real boss muted her. She could unmute, but it's offer code FIVE. That's the word 5, FIVE. Like
Yo,
2 to 6 players.
You got some issues, man. You got some
No, issues
while we're going through the sponsor.
Issues would have been throwing you out of the stream. That was just funny, and you know it.
No.
That was honestly hilarious. Good job.
I had to remind you to read our sponsor stuff twice today.
I read it. It was done. Plus, I can insert it in post.
So go to prizepicks.com, use offer code 5, FIVE, as in the number of football rings we have, even though we should have 6. Basically, what you do is you pick 2 to 5 players, bet the over-under on different stats, and if you get them all right, you win. And we'll match up to $100 on your first deposit. Prize Picks.
Booyah.
Good job.
Anthony, I have no power.
Well, I will. Let me just. So we're actually, 3 co-equal partners in this endeavor, and none of us actually have power. That's why it's a joke. That's why I muted her, because it was funny. If it was actually like something consequential, I would never have done it. I also could have technically thrown her out of the stream, but obviously I'm not going to do that. So it's all in good fun. All these jokes we make about who's in charge.
Because I'm the best at promoting the show. So.
Well, the jokes we make about, someone being in charge is all a joke because no one's in charge. We kind of share everything here. So there's that.
Vish does have control of the mute button.
Well, because I'm producing the stream, but it's not actual control.
McClinton is not playing in the NBA.
No, what is he doing
actually
right now?
has his own line of clothes and stuff. He hasn't been playing basketball.
He definitely
for a while.
hasn't been playing for a while. I didn't know what he was doing though.
Yeah. Didn't he play for the Spurs for a little bit? And
He was drafted by the Spurs.
He did play a little.
Drafted by the Spurs?
I feel like he played a little bit in the NBA and then a lot in Europe. Oh, man, some more live Googling. Riveting stuff. Oh, he was selected in the second round by the Spurs, but never played there. And he stopped playing basketball in 2012, so it's been a bit.
Oh, wow.
He has a clothing line and stuff, and I think he has a bed sheets line and everything too. I follow him on Twitter and Instagram and stuff. So
McClinton together with Carlos Boozer co-founded a men's swimmer company, Loaded Dock.
Yeah. I wonder if he'll convince the Boozer twins to come to Miami. Since
I mean, how are they not just going to Duke?
But maybe Jack will have an influence on them. I don't know.
I mean, one of the Boozer,
We can dream.
Caden said that Miami was recruiting them the hardest. So,
do you really think Duke has to work that hard? They're a class of 2025.
Yeah, 2025.
25. Yeah, we got a while.
I don't know. Duke took Vernon Carey's kid, so it's payback. You guys probably don't remember when Vernon Carey played football here, but
I remember his son.
Yeah.
I think his son's already.
Does Keystone have any kids?
I don't think so.
Julian's got to get his boys to Miami in 15 years.
He hasn't said these are not close to age to attend Miami. So.
Can you imagine in 15 years if we're still doing this pod and we're talking about Gamble's sons?
I don't think.
I would be shocked if in 15 years pods even exist. God knows what the media will be at that point, but it's not going to be any other stuff.
All right.
It'll still be on AM radio though. Anyway.
All right, guys, go check out the Six String Canes pod at 9:00 on the same network. Vish, DJ, Jazz, and Blue. Good stuff.
I think Rasta's coming on too tonight.
And Rasta from the Miami Flow Network. So It's an all-star cast on the football show tonight. So definitely go check it out. I mean, they're not me and Matt, but it's close. It's close.
Yeah, look, there's only one commonality that keeps the whole network afloat, and it's right here. So I don't know what to tell you. I mean,
I don't know. I think the show me and Matt did 2 weeks ago was very good.
It caused me.
I think that was one of our best.
It was so bad, I was throwing up the whole time.
You were throwing up beforehand.
Look, those are details.
I don't know, Matt. What do you think? I think our show 2 weeks ago was really good.
I think it went well. Yeah.
I think it went really well.
Julian might have carried us a little bit, but
I remember a few things from that show. I remember being nauseous the whole time and physically ill watching you two. Second, I remember Melissa lying to Julian Gamble about being a first-round pick. And third, I remember at some point towards the end, Matt complimenting me. Those are the three things I took away from that show.
What did I compliment you? Yeah, what did I compliment you on?
What did he say?
I believe it was something to the extent of Vish is the greatest guy in the world. He didn't pay me to say that. Something like that. I don't know.
Yeah.
No. He said you were a good guy. He said that you were a good guy.
No, I said he was the most genuine guy.
It was definitely a compliment. That's why I didn't know the exact compliment and then you called it. I just remember you said something nice about me and said I didn't pay you to say it, which is true because no one gets paid to do this show.
Exactly.
So
I think Julian was impressed by my the merch that I had. How many people saved shirts from 2013? They're 10-year-old shirts.
Yeah, I like how 2 minutes before we went live, Melissa's like, "Here's all these pictures. Can you show them?" I'm like, "I'm trying not to die over here." Like, sure.
You didn't have to. I just realized I had them. I'm like,
no, you had to, Vish.
Yeah, I know. Taking orders.
I thought they were cool to reference.
They were cool. It was a good addition. I was just
from,
at the time. I'm like,
ACC.
I am feeling like such crap right now. Like I don't have the energy for this.
So then you should have just said no. I understand, bro. You were puking for 24 hours.
I know, but the thing with the puking is when I puked, I got a good 10 or 15 minutes energy afterwards before it hit again. So
I thought they were good photos.
They were good photos. It was fun.
I mean, that was a fun day when we clinched our first ACC title. I mean, the football team hasn't done it yet, so
too soon.
It's the same. I hear it so much on Twitter. It's like, oh, they haven't done anything to ACC. I'm like, shut up.
Who cares? It's irrelevant.
So, all right, guys. It's like a 20-minute goodbye.
As usual.
And we talked about Prize Picks twice. So
episode 5 in the books of the night.
Was it episode 5?
Yeah, we probably got 5 episodes out of this, right?
Oh, you mean podcast? I got a
podcast.
I bet.
No, it's only an hour. I don't know.
I don't artificially do it. It's kind of different subjects that go into it, so I'll have to figure.
We should have a bet at the end of the show of how many podcasts we made.
Well, Well, no, Matt, me and you can make that bet, but Vish has full control, so he would win
That's
every
true.
time.
He's biased. How many you thinking, Melissa?
Was it an hour 45 minutes?
It's not the
I'm gonna go
time.
with-
It doesn't. I don't like do a certain length.
yeah,
It's
it's
kind of the
topics.
topics.
I'm gonna go with 3.
I'm gonna go. I was thinking 4. I had said 5.
I was about to say
originally, but I was gonna
4, and then I was gonna say 4, and then I'm like, no, I'll go with 3. But 3 or 4, I don't know.
It's probably going to be 3 because I don't think we had enough women's content at the front to justify its own show.
Yeah, we only.
But I
talked
think that's
about
the
it for
line because then we did do it
5
like
minutes.
I think the stuff towards the end on is probably its own
You
show.
could have
in the middle.
a 3-minute pod about how many pods is this gonna make. That could be one pod.
Yeah, I don't even know what I'm going to do with this. I just slice it the
I'm
hell
trying
out
to
of
stretch this longer, so there's another episode.
This might get cut. Well, I mean, Vish, if you want to keep this broadcasting, me and Matt can keep going, and you can go do the. I'm just kidding.
I mean, unfortunately, you can't actually end it, so it would just be like stuck forever.
Until
It's like
next
me
week.
and Matt have a guest waiting, but he didn't want to talk to you. And I'm just kidding.
Wouldn't be the first time.
And here he
So
is,
what
Pete
is-
Stone. No, I'm just kidding.
when you poisoned me, so I couldn't talk
When
to
are
Julian
we-
again.
when
Well,
are
I
we
know the
doing the
games
pod?
you're playing.
When are we doing the pod next week?
There was a whole, I take this time to put together a schedule, and you don't even bother to open it. It's literally everything is through
Thursday-
July as dated already.
Thursday, I might actually be absent.
I took your work schedule and cross-checked it against the
Well, no,
buckets.
I'm off next Thursday, but I may be absent because I'll talk to you about it later. But it might just be Vish and Matt next week, guys. I'm sorry.
Oh no.
We'll see.
That's Matt. That's
I'll
why
wear a
change the
hoodie.
locks so she can't get back in.
Wear a hoodie. I have to see. It depends on what time you guys do it, and
We'll figure it
that's
out.
something I have to do
This
with my mom,
this definitely does not need to be on the air. Let's
yeah.
All
But
right.
anyway, but if you
Well,
don't see me next
anyway,
week,
there
guys,
should be a show next Thursday.
All right. Well, I'm looking
There will
good
be
at
a show
4
next
episodes now.
All right.
Make
See
sure you
next
go
week,
vote
guys.
on Vish's poll that he put on Twitter.
I didn't
Bye.
put a poll on Twitter.
I thought you were.
Wait, hold on.
What did you just do?
Hold it because you were talking. What happened?
Didn't you put the poll about is Shane Clark going to transfer?
No,
Or did you not?
I expect you to cheat on the poll again like you did last week.
Oh my god.
Did you just go off air and go back on really quickly? Like you just cut it out?
I was playing the outro, but you kept talking, so I cut the outro. There's like a
okay,
second of the
go
outro in there.
I really wondered how we were going to do a show every week about Canes basketball. I don't know why I thought that.
I will say, like, we're very quickly going to start like the preseason stuff. So
I know.
When are they going to
When
Europe?
are we doing the box of crap?
Oh, well, I got to be in Miami for that, but I'm coming in July, so we'll figure.
We'll figure it out.
Middle of
Okay,
July.
cut the outro.
Am I safe to do the outro?
Bye. Don't cry.
We getting buckets.
Keep it chill.
Yeah, baby.
Wear good socks.
Buckets.